Hey everybody, this is another edition of You Art With Me, and I'm E-Ray, or Edik, and this is Edik's Art. Um, Today we're going on this, or embarking on this journey of me doing my moose, part of my large land mammal series that I'm doing of art. Sorry guys, it's been about a couple of days before I put some contact out on this. Been having some technical difficulties. Hopefully I've taken care of that, and if it's posted, this is what we need right here. If you guys kind of see me in the beginning, I'm using my compass on this particular venture, doing my moose. I'm kind of trying to get a feel for where I want his antlers to be. As you can kind of vaguely see, I have the antlers kind of coming out of the borders that I put on there, and put, like, again, like I did the black rhino, I put like 2-inch borders around everything. And on this particular one, I wanted to kind of come outside of the realms of those borders. Kind of got inspired by doing that. I watched this podcast with Todd McFarlane. One of the things he was kind of stressing and talking about was how when he was with Marvel Comics and stuff like that, he was always pushing the boundary. And I guess hopefully you're enjoying the art, you're getting the visual, and it's bringing joy to you. But hopefully in me saying this, maybe a message is given here too, drawing outside the boundaries. From what I took from what he was saying was that everybody was going around with the status quo of everything and how everything should be, and he had the foresight or the courage to try to go outside of those boundaries. And so I kind of figured that I would try to, in my own interpretation of doing that same type of thing with my artwork. Like I said, it's nothing new, but I guess he was getting some kickback from people, the corporate heads who were like saying, "Oh man, he also did. He was one of the first to start elaborating on the capes of the superheroes, making these elaborate capes, long flowing and very detailed capes, which kind of told their own story within the story of that superhero." So I kind of wanted to venture and do that as well, and that's what I did with the whole moose. I took his antlers and brought it out. Another thing I kind of took from this too is how ugly it was, the ugly the process is. I'm not a technically trained artist, kind of just self-taught. Been doing that for a while, since I was a little kid. Really got inspired, I would probably say, being a youngster, probably in elementary school. My mom, I think at some point in time, she was taking an interior decorating class, and she was doing art. And I seen her easel stands and stuff like that would be in our downstairs closet, and she had some artwork there as well. She had like this large Tweety bird, which that would that's gonna draw me as a kid, and it was like cartoon. But then I also unknowingly had my mind impregnated with perspectives, possibly not even realizing that. And there was like more technically what you would get as being a technically trained artist. She had a bunch of 2-point, 3-point perspectives, arches, and stuff like that, and like as if you were viewing down an archway. And I remember seeing those, and they kind of had, some type of apparently had some type of effect on me. So I guess you could take that as too, as like what you put around your kids, whatever, and possibly in our genetics pass along. But kids absorb things, especially as young children. You absorb things a lot faster than you do as you're an adult. I don't know if that's just how the body. I guess you would have to absorb so much knowledge being infant because how getting all these new situation senses and sensories coming to you all at once, and you're trying to navigate your way through the world. So I can see how that could happen. But yeah, that's how I got kind of I guess the art bug originally. And so, I would draw. I remember having this friend in elementary school. His name was Jorge Romo, and he used to draw a lot, and I kind of always kind of like subconsciously competing with him, or on a level competing with him in his art. And I kind of wasn't doing it for a while. Then I moved to Mississippi, and then it was really crazy because I moved to Mississippi, had a bunch of comic books, just like we all kind of start from there. I think a lot of young artists start with comic books and stuff like that. So I used to trace over the comic book covers and stuff like that. Then I got to a point where I didn't trace anymore, and I started trying to do it without tracing, just by looking at it, and I started getting good at it. Back in the woods of Mississippi, DeLille, Mississippi, started getting good at it. I came hung a couple on my walls throughout time. I would just, had leisure time, whatever, clear my mind. I would do some artwork or whatever, and draw some of the comic books, and things of that nature. Kind of took a class or two. I think I took like maybe 2 years in high school. I took art. I don't think I didn't take it my senior year. I think I took it like my sophomore year, my freshman year, and I think, or maybe my junior year, I took it. But I kind of went away from it, and then I started doing art. I had another buddy of mine, this guy named Lance. He's from New Orleans. He was in the goth and all that stuff like that. And he already was way more established than I was as an artist. And but he had his own style, and he would do like these kind of creatures that were like elongated and had fingers, and it was real realistic. And he was doing it from his mind, coming up with characters. And I believe that's kind of when I started coming up with wanting to draw, like not just comic books, but trying to come up with my own characters. I did a few things, whatever, kind of New Yorker, but long story short, started just coming on, and then later on in life, I started up back again doing little drawings and stuff. And then now that I'm in North Carolina, I really started picking it back up. I would say probably about 2 years ago that I kind of started doing some different mediums. I started acrylic, started messing around with oils, and then I started trying to kind of learn a little bit more about them. And as of lately, I've been doing a lot of pastels. And as of really lately, like currently, I've been doing these sketches, and I decided, well, I should start maybe doing a series of these sketches and stuff like that. And the first one I did was the black rhino, and now I'm on my elk, or my moose, which is the North American kind of like it's part of the deer family. This animal is one of the largest land mammals. It's part of the elk family, but it's one of the largest, or if not the largest, of the elk family. And from the shoulders, these things can get about anywhere from about 6-7 feet tall from the shoulder. I mean, these guys are huge. They live in the North American forests. Up like North Alaska, maybe Canada. If you remember the Rocky of Bullwinkle, they had the Canadian, mountaineers they call them, or Mounties and whatnot. So yeah, so these moose are part of the northern part of, or they're also, you can find some in Eurasia. In places like that as well. They're as far as I know, they're not of an endangered species, and they are another herbivore type of land mammal and whatnot. Like I say, you can get them around New England, Canada, Maine, places of that nature. You see some in Russia, um, some of the Baltic states, and places like that. You'll find them. But you see how what I'm doing now, I'm kind of really messing around with those antlers, and I kind of, like I said, it's an ugly process, and I'm gonna get to the parts where you can start seeing like these other features coming into this elk. But as you see me now, I'm going deeper into these features, and I did, like I said, I erased some of it because I wanted to get more of how it, what am I looking for? More of a perspective, and the right perspective of how this angle of the moose is going to be, and how his right and left antlers or horns, and how they correlate with each other and parallel to each other. But it's not going to look head on, so I got to create this illusion in your eyes, and I kind of do that with giving some depth and texture to these antlers, and even his face. When you'll start seeing his nose and how it protrudes out, the bridge of his nose, how it comes, his mouth. It's turned out to be really good, but like I said, at first I was not satisfied, like with his eyes, and like just so. What I was trying to do with this was make it make sense to my eyes. Because if it makes sense to my eyes, I know it makes sense to everybody else's eyes, because I'm the one doing this. So what I essentially did was, and you'll start seeing me once I get down more to that part of it. You see, I kind of got a placement for where the eye should be, and it was looking real ugly, that whole process. And like I said, I wanted to kind of go outside of that barrier, and I wanted to keep true to somewhat of giving you a true anatomy of the portions of what I'm drawing. So with the antlers, you guys probably won't see or think or see the mistakes right off. Some people will, like it, like way more established artists. They're gonna see the little nuances and mistakes that I made. I try to correct them though, and like learning from like watching. This day and age, we're so lucky we have YouTube and we have places where we can go and we can kind of be self-taught, and it's a lot better. But before, if you didn't go to some type of institution, you couldn't get that self-taught. I mean, you wouldn't, unless you were just a genius. You can be self-taught, but a lot of things come with study and repetition and kind of what you like. If you kind of can tolerate and like something, I think those people tend to be what we call the geniuses of those, because they're more susceptible to those whatever disciplines they are, wherever it be. Like Kanye West, I feel like whatever you may think about him, he's a genius as far as just coming to production and doing music. This guy's a genius. Kanye is one of probably he's at least in my top 3 of all time great producers, up there with the Primos and the Pete Rocks, Dr. Dre's, just the least, Timberlands. So he's up there with those type of producers or whatnot. I feel he's a genius. Tesla, he had a passion for it, so I think he was a genius, as far as him being able to do the things he was doing with electricity and whatnot. Albert Einstein. These guys, Albert Einstein used to, you know, he used to urinate and poop on himself. But he's a genius. So you have individuals in all respects. Philip McGuire, he wrote algorithms for he wrote the algorithm for computers so servers can talk to each other. About 3 billion complex mathematical equations were being calculated in like 3 seconds. So this made it possible for us to have the internet today. You can look him up. His name is Philip McGuire. He's actually in D.C. He's a Nigerian American. He's given some type of award for one of the top mathematical equivalent to the Nobel Peace Prize in mathematics. I think currently, right now, last time I read up on him, he was doing something where he was trying to make a synthetic oil so we wouldn't have to go into, saying mining, oil drilling and all that stuff, fracking. I know it's been a big thing. People talking about our footprint left on the earth. That's here and there, but yeah, just a little insight. And you see right here, where I was just trying to get a placement. Getting back on topic, I'm trying to get a placement for the eye. Putting the eye back in perspective of what I was, what I'm trying to do, and kind of like right now I'm doing the other side of his antlers or horn, because like on the moose horn and antlers, to me, how I would describe them, kind of like a baseball mitt, in the way they cup and shape up, and like these fingers, these huge fingers coming from this large mitt, large palms, and of course, like we know, like they get these points for every year, or how long they've been around, they get all these points and stuff like that. And they also go through kind of like a molting kind of like thing that they go through, where it grows like this fur or something, and then like this certain part of the time, I guess it kind of like starts, they rub them on trees or whatever, and it starts breaking down, and you can see like they're like bloody. But I mean, I guess there's some process they going through. I really want to go in a little bit more detail about, and for myself, and researching that, and just for my own personal. But yeah, I don't, if you know what that is, or what causes that, or it's a certain time of the year it happens, like let me know. But yeah, I've seen like a bunch of where you can see it like hanging, and you can see it like furry, almost like a plant. Like they have a tree on top of there, like tree branches on top at some point. Then it starts coming off, and I guess they're rubbing it off, or starting to break down or whatever, kind of like some skin or whatnot. Yeah. And so, like as you see, I'm trying to get kind of a direction and just kind of flowing, get a flow of how those antlers are actually, what direction and what shape they're in right now. That's what I'm doing right now. Kind of in that feeling. He said, if you're looking at it right now, you're like, wow, this is not going to turn out really great. And I'm thinking the same thing at this point. But and here's maybe another gem or some type of maybe you could take from this, is where, I mean, at this point I was really thinking about possibly giving up on it, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and keep going with it, and to see, I'm just keep working it and getting to where I want. Like I said, the race is my friend. I know there's artists that are a lot better than me, can do this a lot quicker, whatever. Again, I would call these guys like, trained masters, whatever. And I will eventually get there with time and practice. I'll get there, but right now, I'm just trying to train my brain to like, okay, get this flow, and and trying to put things in perspective of how they should be, and in the directions and shapes. I'm gonna get like large shapes out first, then go in and detail them, and that will give you a better sense, trick your eyes a little bit with little tricks that I've come to find and learn for myself. Um, One thing that I know made me a lot better, and you guys can see too from some of my art that I've done earlier. If you, like on my, if you go to Lionhead Circle Instagram account and you look at some of my art, you can see my progression where you start seeing I get a little bit better. But as of recently, like I said, it's this guy on YouTube, and he's saying like he would just go out and draw trees and draw the nature. And he did this one where he had this tree, and he started drawing the tree, and the tree was like intertwining with each other, like kind of some large oak cedar type of tree. And like I get what he's saying. It did wonders for me. If you look like at the rhino, people say, "Oh man, you really put a lot of detail in it." You'll see how like me drawing those organic shapes and trees and trying to make things look like they have texture, or they're 3D, three dimensional. And that's all you're really trying to do. Trying to take something that's on a 2D platform and trying to make it 3D, look 3D. So with a lot of tricks and things like that, you can trick the eye to make things, because your eye is constantly trying to figure things out and sending messages back to the brain of how you can interpret stuff. So that's what I'm essentially trying to do. I'm trying to trick, and any artist, that's all artists, that's what we're trying to do. We're basically trying to trick your mind or trick your eyes to send signals to your brain to interpret whatever. And with that, it can evoke feelings and emotions in you as well. Um, and that's what art should do for everybody, and that's what I feel, at least. You know what I'm saying? Art should invoke something in you. You know what I'm saying? Make you feel like, all right, you know, and feel maybe therapeutic to do this as well. You know, for me, on as an artist, because like you're creating something, and being a creative person, you it's something in creating something from nothing. And especially how ugly this thing look, like that eye. Most people be like, man, but at this point on the juncture, what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to get some type of feeling of where I'm at and what I'm doing and where things should be placed. And again, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, the eraser is my friend. um, and you see me, I'm going over these lines over and over, and trying to get a sense and trying to find, because eventually one of those lines is gonna look good to me. In my head, that's what I'm saying. One of the lines is gonna look good to me. And like I said, you can kind of see that. And I didn't. I went back and like I said, learning anatomy is something will probably help you out a lot better. You won't have to do a lot of go through a lot of the headache and hardship that I'm going through right now, and using your eraser as much. Even if you look at that right side of the horn, as when it's protruding out of the head, you kind of see it doesn't really look right. And like I said, I'm kind of focusing on something else right now. But when I take a step back and I look at it, I had to, I went back and I changed it up. Used my eraser to change things up and whatnot. Again, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was a couple times it's like, man, I just should just go scrap this and start over. Because especially using my graphite pen, it's kind of left a little dark impression. So, but I'm gonna do some things for that. I'm gonna most likely go back in like I did with the Rhino and use my brush pen, and do something else. And this is, I was really being brave and taking this on and taking that. It's kind of hard to see the angle I have and how I got it kind of cut off on the paper. That nostrils and how the nose protrudes out, that snout or whatever we call that. I'm gonna get these names out for you guys. I'm gonna learn these. I'm gonna learn some of this stuff. But I mean, you can see, like I said, the bridge of the nose, because it kind of goes out, and then the whole jaw and the top part of the mouth part comes out. But yeah, I was really struggling with this eye right here. Really struggling at this point. And but I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going, because I knew if I got some basic shapes, large shapes and structures, eventually it'll start making sense. I can move things around to make more sense to my eyes and brain, and send a signal back to my brain and say, okay. But I was like, at this point, and I think, like I said, everybody comes to these type of points in something they're doing, they can be like, I can just give up, and it get frustrating or whatever, but you don't want to. Like, just keep going. It looks ugly right now, but just keep going and think that it'll come out right. And I looked at it and I showed it to a few people. They were like, "Man, that looks pretty good, man." It was like okay. A lot, like, some of when I show my art, they used to like kind of clown and try to, and like this one guy in particular, he really like. And he like to give me the business, and I talk a lot of crap to people. So like when people talk crap to me, I can't be mad. You gotta take it. If you're a person get mad when somebody say something to you, and then but you can say stuff to other people, that's wrong, man. That's wrong. So I know I talk a lot of trash to people all the time, but my football team, I like the Bears, like I talk a lot of trash, man. So when people talk trash to me, like we was getting beat up and whatever, while squad, man, I was like, all right, I just had to roll with the punches. That's just how it is. But yeah, so but like it's kind of rewarding and too when like you have critics and people saying things, and like I said, you guys comment, tell me, hit me, whatever. Like if you don't like something, let me know, because it'll give me an opportunity to look at it and see it in perspective. Okay, and then next time around, I can get better. See, like right here, I'm doing his back. Like you can see where like his neck goes into like his top shoulder blade and then to his back, and there's kind of like a break in there, and you'll see later on where I kind of make a break. And I also kind of break where like his hairline, cause like, and and like I said, I'm still learning. I'm not afraid to tell you where I learned this stuff from. Like I was just watching, like I said, watching art shows on YouTube. Watch Aaron Blaze, and he's doing like this bear, and he's doing like these animals with fur. All right though. Well, I've come to the end of this particular series. Again, this is You Art With Me. This is Eddie's Art, aka E-Ray. Hope you enjoy your time with me. Me running my mouth. Hope you guys have the rest of your day is great. Thanks for checking me out, listening to me, and enjoying my art. I'm gonna get with y'all. Y'all have a good day, man. I'm out.